This is the biggest problem here for me. These knuckleheads are at it again. You know, it's funny because these are the experts. It can't be more than 100 people. Like, how many people qualify as executives? Maybe like team owners don't really count, but like a president of basketball operations, general manager, assistant general manager. I think those are the three positions that we would qualify to be as designated executives when we're thinking about these polls that come out every single offseason, and there's always an uproar because, man, what the hell are these guys talking about? I'm very curious personally to see what these experts, these so-called experts, have to say for themselves, because this is not a gimme of a topic. NBA execs poll: Luka Doncic, top player to build around. Evan Mobley, Anthony Edwards, top 5. So here we go, where it's our classic top players under 25. Who are you starting a franchise with? It's not who is better right now. No surprise. We're not even going to talk about this. I don't care who you are. You're trying to get cute and say, oh, well, you know, personally, I think Jayson Tatum. No, you don't. No, you don't. Stop it. Jayson Tatum is a great player, but come on. Stop it. Me personally, I did the bracket. I literally picked Ja Morant over Jayson Tatum. You got to watch the video to understand why I did that. So they thought this was a pretty big gap, it looks like, because 11 of 15 guys picked Jayson Tatum as number 2, and Luka Doncic was unanimous number 1, which he should have been. You know, I understand. I'm not going to, call them wrong, but Ja Morant was literally an unstoppable force in the playoffs. Like, the Warriors could not stop him from doing his thing, and they stopped Jayson Tatum from doing his thing. That's all I'm going to say. But we do have to look at this from the lens of longevity. Like, you're building around this player. You're not just taking this player right now. You're taking them in the future. Jayson Tatum is older than Ja, but he's also a player that it seems like he could be a top 5, top 10 player for sure. Whereas with Ja, I feel like the way he plays is not necessarily optimal for a late career player. Like, you see guys like Derrick Rose, John Wall, Russell Westbrook, your elite athleticism reliant guards, point guards that come into the league and they're amazing in their youth. And Russell Westbrook is actually kind of a best case scenario up until last year for that, because he has been effective even despite aging and not being able to jump as high. Ja Morant, when he's 31 or 32 and he can't just dunk on people and soar and glide past guys in the air, it's hard to see a 31-year-old Ja Morant being more effective than like a 31-year-old Jayson Tatum. So I think that's probably the logic behind that. But I am rocking with the 4 executives that are picking Ja here because he's such a playmaker. I think individually he is the more unstoppable force. I think this is where the controversy begins. Check out my second to last video. I actually did a whole deep dive into Evan Mobley's floor and ceiling. 5 of these guys had Evan Mobley at number 3 overall on their list of all of these players, ahead of Ja. We've seen stuff like this before, like projecting Andrew Wiggins as a top 10 player in the league in 5 years or whatever, like people were doing back when he came into the league. Evan Mobley obviously has a long way to go, but it's just about the youth and that ceiling. In a sense, I can see it. I'm not going to be that mad at it because Evan Mobley, even at 20 years older, I think he's 21, whatever, going into his second season, already the best defensive player on this list, I think. Scottie Barnes is also an incredible defensive player, so he's going to get a lot of hype probably on this list as well. We are projecting growth, and we look at these players as high character individuals that want to get better, will put in the work, and progress, and by the time they're 24, they could be on the level of a guy like Jayson Tatum or whoever's on this list under these guys because their ceiling is just so high. Anthony Edwards in Minnesota, another guy that, like, going into his 3rd season, a lot of people think he's going to be in the All-Star game this year. The ceiling is so high, and because he's young, we're talking about the future. We're not talking about right now. Zion at 6. Zion is, he's like one of the hardest players to judge based off of his ceiling. This is the biggest problem here for me. This is the biggest problem. The ceilings of players like Evan Mobley, Scottie Barnes, Zion are so high because they are guys that can play in the front court who have demonstrated guard skills. It means their versatility is just tremendous. It's like if these guys fill out, if these guys reach their ceiling, they're going to be better than these guards because they're bigger and they can play more positions and they can do more on a basketball court in an NBA game. It makes sense to me. It's logical. Even having Evan Mobley at number 4 ahead of super established star talent players like Trae Young, who's one of the best offensive players in the league, leading the league in points and assists last year. It says one executive had Trae Young rated as high as 3. And I respect that. This is what it should be. Like, it's not just LaMelo being at 8. LaMelo's a young player. He has room to grow. But here's the thing with LaMelo Ball. He doesn't have the explosion. He doesn't have the defense. He doesn't have the finishing ability of elite players in the NBA. You can't teach explosion. You have to be fundamentally sound to bypass your lack of explosiveness. And of course, if he can keep getting better, that's one thing. And he has gotten better, but there's absolutely no reason why you should think LaMelo Ball would be better than Trae Young. This guy, he says, Trae Young carries his team. He makes everybody better around him. He's an offensive juggernaut type player. People make too much of the fact that he can't guard. A lot of guys can't guard that are elite offensive players. Ja Morant is ranked number 3 on this list, and the distance between Ja Morant and Trae Young on the defensive end is not very much. Trae, he didn't have anybody to play with last year. He really hasn't had a star teammate in his career, and he finally has one in DeJounte Murray this year, and I think we just have to take that into account. Now, LaMelo Ball, who's ahead of Trae Young on this list, somehow also has not had a star teammate in his career either. But, god damn it, just watch them play basketball. Trae Young has not had injury problems. He plays a certain way that is not reliant on jumping, athletic ability. He plays a brand of basketball that he's going to be able to play when he's 30 plus. He's just on a different level. Dribbling the ball, passing the ball, breaking down a defense, pick and roll IQ, and all the skill set stuff, shooting range, shooting ability. He has it all. So him being at 9, it's disrespect. LaMelo Ball being ahead of him is disrespect. LaMelo Ball went into the play-in game last year against the Atlanta Hawks. He couldn't get by Kevin Huerter. That alone should disqualify him from being ahead of Trae Young on this list. And honestly, how is Zion ahead of Trae Young? What is Zion? He's injury prone as hell. Why is he ahead of him? Yes, the ceiling might be higher if he could play every game of a season. He's never played a playoff game. He can't shoot. We don't know if he can guard. And he's higher than Trae Young. Okay, you're banking on the potential, but Trae Young is a definite. We know what he is. He is already established. You know, Evan Mobley and Scotty Barnes, they're going in their second year. Maybe it makes a little bit of sense. You have more years of them, and they look like generational defensive talents, or they could be. It's hard, but I draw the line at LaMelo, certainly Zion, to be ahead of Trae Young. And Darius Garland. Why is LaMelo Ball ahead of Darius Garland? I'm going to answer that for you. So LaMelo Ball is tall, which means he has more defensive potential. And he's already a good rebounder. He's already the best rebounder out of all the point guards on this list besides like Luka. How much are we really valuing that? Anything you can do to help your team win is good. But Darius Garland and Trae Young are proven star players, star talents that are like leaps and bounds. How is it even close? I don't think it's even close with LaMelo Ball and those guys. It's just like the amount of separation you can create as a point guard. LaMelo Ball is not fast enough. He's not breaking down defenses at the same speed. He's not making them collapse at the same speed. And he's not putting pressure on the defense as a finisher at the same level as Darius Garland and Trae Young. He's a great shooter. He's a great passer. And he's tremendously skilled. And yeah, he's young. But yeah, Trae Young is definitely more proven than Darius Garland. Darius Garland got a little taste of play-in action last year. LaMelo has played in 2 play-in games and stunk it up in both games. I think you can tell with players who has the dog, who wants to be out there in that high-intensity game. LaMelo, I think he's just too casual. And I don't think that's going to win in the NBA. And I don't think you can teach dog. Cade Cunningham at 11. Evan Mobley and Scotty Barnes they're young players with high potential. They only played 1 year. But so did Cade. And why is Cade so much lower than them? I don't understand that. I think all 3 of those guys should be around the same level because they all present tremendous upside in different ways on both ends of the court. I mean, none of those guys are running an offense like Cade Cunningham. This guy could be the point guard of the future. I don't see how fucking LaMelo is ahead of Cade Cunningham. If Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley are ahead of LaMelo, how is Cade Cunningham not ahead of LaMelo? So I would have Cade Cunningham at least where Scotty Barnes is. I'm buying all the Cade Cunningham stock. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, I watched Shai Gilgeous-Alexander play a basketball game. I watched LaMelo Ball play a basketball game. I know exactly who I think is a better player. And I don't think it's close personally. I don't see how one guy could be ranked 8 and one guy can be ranked 13. So GMs, I don't believe you guys. Like, I don't believe in you guys, and I don't believe you guys because what more does Shai Gilgeous-Alexander have to do in his current situation to get into the top 10 here? Does he need to score more points, get to 30 points a game, even though he's being doubled more than any other player in the NBA? Does he need to win more than 25 games in a season, even though he has the worst team in the NBA? Like, what? Like, what does he need to do? And then Tyrese Halliburton is 13, okay. So, that's it. I didn't really spend much time on what I liked about this list, but that's because who cares? Like, you're supposed to know common sense stuff. Like, you're supposed to know who's better in general. Some of these are not obvious because you are banking on potential and ceilings and not who is better right now, who has performed better in the most recent games that we've seen. But also, your players' ceilings, There should be elements of a player about a player based on what we've already seen. There are certain things about players that they will not change. Of course, you can get better in your areas, but executives, y'all might be drunk a little bit. I don't know what's going on.